G'day, people. Here we are, Filmmaker Friday number 3. So I'm always excited, but I'm extra excited today to be having a chat with Sam Hagen from The Human Story. Some of you guys will probably know him from his other production business or earlier production business, Moonshaker. So Sam's a local sunny coaster for all of us who live in this beautiful part of the world, Queensland Sunshine Coast. So respect for that. And I am, as I put in the description, really excited to hear the latest news, what he's been up to and where his focus lies. I mean, just the way that he is positioning his business to focus on what connects us rather than what divides, I think is a beautiful sentiment in itself. And if you had a chance to look at the cover art or the thumbnail for this episode, I put a few pics in there that he shared with me and just some beautiful imagery from people obviously in unique parts of the world with interesting stories to tell. So let's bring him in now and we can have a chat. I think we'll change that. G'day, mate.
Hey, how you going?
Pretty good.
Can you hear me? Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. I can hear you.
How are you?
Oh, I tell you what, it's just been technology.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just
Still not there. It's still not easy yet, is it?
It's pretty live streaming's definitely not as simple as I thought it was going to be. Well, it's tricky because now I'm on StreamYard and it is pretty plug and play, reasonably plug and play. It would be complete plug and play if you were happy just to use your bloody camera from your laptop and your microphone from your laptop, but it gets trickier when you want to actually connect a decent camera and microphone to sort of do something a little bit more professional. So
I did it the other day and it took me a long time to get it all working.
Get it going. Yeah,
you've got a good setup there.
Have you are you running StreamYard?
No, I didn't do StreamYard, but I did an online course about a month ago. So I set up a Blackmagic and used a really nice the A10 Mini, the Blackmagic A10 Mini Pro, and so I set it all up and it looked really good, but it took me a while to get it all working. Yeah,
indeed. Yeah, well, because I was trying to, and I think I will probably transition to Ecamm or Ecamm Live. I was almost 100% there, and I've even bought a subscription to Restream.io so I could get it out to YouTube and Facebook and maybe some other places down the track. But then the Achilles heel that just did me over this morning, hence why we're a fraction late, was you have to use Skype, right, as the medium for doing an interview, which is one, I don't think you could have this layout, and have your branding, which is probably just not quite as nice. And two, I couldn't get Skype to pick up my DSLR camera or my separate microphone. I thought, well, I've just defeated like half the bloody
waste.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll push on. So now, mate, I mean, I'm sure you're no stranger to tech challenges. I think it's kind of part and parcel of the filmmaking business. There's always something going wrong, isn't there?
Yeah, there's always YouTubing, always something computer wise, or always issues. It's just problem solving, really. That's half of the job.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people actually refer to filmmaking as problem solving, and I think it's true. And there is an element of it that I like. Like I was talking to Taz Garcia last week and just saying I kind of like a little bit of the kind of, get the gaff tape, strap that to something or other, like this isn't working, we'll use the iPhone, et cetera. But, it can make things a little bit frantic.
I think if you're the one person, I think there's more people on the team and you're not worrying about it all, it's okay. But if you're trying to do lighting and solve problems and then working with like talent and stuff, it's not very fun. But if you're just there solving problems, fixing things with lighting, I like it. That's when my adrenaline goes the most when I'm like doing gaffer jobs or doing DPing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess that's true. I mean, I'm probably got that on my side. I do like adrenaline sort of things, and it's definitely this live streaming gig has been keeping me on my toes because there's none of the luxury of just editing things out later. It's all
Yeah, yeah,
it's all
for sure.
happening. And
Yeah,
yesterday, I just butchered a really great interview with this guy. We're talking about suicide prevention and some pretty significant stuff and interesting topic around neuroplasticity and rewiring people's brains and what have you. And I believe it's because the battery was just going low and pretty much died on my microphone. It just had this weird pop, 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 pop sound all over the top of my audio. And so I wasn't wearing headphones because I didn't want to. And
oh, didn't know. Yeah.
no.
It's a
Anyway,
nice feeling.
mate, tell everyone a bit about your backstory. So, have you always been on the Sunshine Coast, by the way?
Yeah. I grew up here on the coast, and yeah. How far do I go back? So yeah, I grew up here, went to
All the
school,
way,
and then went
all the way,
traveling.
mate.
What's that?
Go all the way back.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Went finished school here, and yeah, grew up here, and then went traveling for like 5 years, and yeah, each time I came back, I kind of fell in love with this place a little bit more. And during the travels, I started doing photography, and then that kind of turned into video. Yeah, and then I was a youth worker for a couple of years while doing video, and then video kind of took off, and I was able just to focus on that, which was really nice because on the coast, you've got to do a wide range of projects, and the work isn't always there. So there was times of the year that was a bit quiet, but slowly getting the reputation now to, I think it's just getting into the right networks to have it sustainable and not have 2 months, 3 months of the year where you're stressing out about work. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I mean, that was, for me, pre-COVID, the last year, and then the beginning part of this year up till probably March or so. That was all the early start of me trying to get into the video and filmmaking space with the ultimate desire to head towards getting to do directing, or I like the DP sort of side of things too. But and that was so hard. Like, it was a really, really hard run. I was only just getting to the point where I could hire a couple extra people, to actually help level the quality up a bit. And then COVID sort of came in. So it's tricky, isn't it? Because it's amazing. It's such an amazing place to live that you know within yourself that it's not right now the place to be for filmmaking if you're kind of thinking, I want to get into making movies or bigger productions. But the lifestyle here and the people are just so good.
Yeah, it is, and you just get, I guess, when it's so easy as well, you kind of get stuck. I don't know. This year I've kind of gotten to know more filmmakers on the coast, but before that I was just in my silo, and I think being around creative people is a really good benefit, especially this kind of works. So it's like you kind of just plateau. I think, I don't know, when you're comfortable, you're not inspired to learn or get outside your comfort zone. So yeah, there's good things about living on the coast, but then also there's a negative element to it. Working from home, all that kind of, all the motivation, it's all kind of personal things you've got to go through really to make it successful.
Yeah. So when did you make the shift to go to the Human Story films?
Yeah, so it was Moonshaker Media for like 3 years, and after a couple of years, I didn't really know what it was. I don't know. I wasn't really excited to tell people what the name was. I was like, oh, it's just Moonshaker Media, and so I didn't really know what it was. So it was really hard for me to sell it. And if I didn't really believe in it, then it wasn't. How am I supposed to get people to pay me to do projects? And when I went on my website, you couldn't really know you didn't really know what I do. Like, there's heaps of, like, there's wedding stuff. There was like business, corporate, a range of different things. And what I really liked doing was like 5 to 10 minute kind of mini docos about stories about real people. And that was about 20% of the work that I'd done with Moonshaker Media. And I went through an 8-week boot camp, a business boot camp called The Refinery, which is run by the Sunshine Coast Council, and it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed, and I kind of just came up with that new name. I was trying to figure out the words that I wanted in there, and it was human and it was story, and so that kind of worked. And so I kind of I'm still in the process of doing it, rebranding, like logos and designers and all this stuff. Kind of takes a lot longer than you think, but kind of rebranding to aim towards kind of 5 to 10 minute kind of brand docs. Really, it's kind of ones that you can. I don't know, something that's a little bit easier for a brand or a business to put money towards. Like they can use it, and it's not like I've done one long feature. And it was just a lot of time, a lot of time on my own, and there's not much money in that. Like I think you have to have a real passion for that project and not have any financial strings kind of keeping you there. And being a one-man band most of the time, like I have an editor now and I have a shooter who works with me, but a lot of the time it is me. So it's just a little bit more sustainable doing those kind of projects, those 5 to 10 minute projects.
Yeah. G'day, Vanna, Ashley. Thanks for joining us today. It's good to see you guys here. So, I think it's a tricky process. I think there are a lot of little inflection points from what I could gather, where it's sort of little steps where you can kind of level up, or you can kind of perhaps move a bit closer to what you're really passionate about. Because I get completely what you're saying, like I found the same thing in the early phases. I was just like, you know what, I'm pretty much this. If somebody wants video, I'm going to shoot it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like whatever. And I also kind of thought I want to try my hand at a few different things anyway. But I think it's awesome if you can get to that point where you can focus more of your attention into doing the types of projects that you really want to do, and longer term, if you can sustain it, I think that's where people tend to have more success, don't they? Like they kind of get a bit more known for like a particular type of work.
Yeah, I think if you can niche into a particular thing, especially now, like the market is now Australia and the world, like it's not like local with the internet. So if you niche into something that you're really passionate for and just keep on going with it, like 5-10 years, then people will recognize you. I think you just got to trust in it will happen if you just keep on pushing it and not try and control. Like you got to relinquish control a lot of the time. I think, I don't know, whenever I'm stressed about work and then I just kind of say, oh, it's going to happen, and then I get a call, a new job or something like that. So it's it's a weird thing, freelancing. It can be really good, but then it can be quite stressful.
Yeah, definitely. And what was the first job you ever did? What was the first paying client?
Oh, all right. That was,
That'll put you on the.
I think it was either a wedding or it was for a client that I'm still doing a lot of my work with today, First People's Disability Network, and I think maybe them. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I did work for about 6 months for free. Just I didn't care about money, and then but from that, there's several clients that are still working with me today. So it was I guess it's paid off quite well. But I think that or a wedding, a friend's wedding for like a couple $100 or something.
Yeah. I think doing the free projects is a pretty common. It's a pretty common story, but that's it makes it quite tricky if if you don't have something else to support you financially. So it sounds like for you were doing the community work. Is that when you were kind of doing that? Was that what was sort of allowing you to do that?
Yeah, it was. I think it was probably I was in hospitality still at that original point, and then moved into youth work. But yeah, for maybe 2 years I was a youth worker and then still doing videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I still do free work now. Like it's kind of tricky if you're not doing the work that you want to be doing. and you haven't, like, you kind of do, like, I did a free job like 2 months ago just to get into certain networks. I don't know, it's kind of quite an argue point that doing free work to do it or not. But if you're stuck doing a certain thing and people know you for that, then how do you get to doing those jobs that you want to do rather than doing it for free? So I guess it's not seeing free as you're still getting something from that, even though it's not financial. You're getting that connection, and you're getting a relationship, which for me, those relationships I made at the start when I started doing video, just by being genuine, being kind, being, wanting to give, that's come back so much more. So yeah, I think it's seeing that relationship as the commodity, or the value.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's very much sort of chicken and the egg.
Yeah,
in the sense that that's what I was finding. I was like, okay, I felt within myself that I could do higher quality work if I just had the time to put into it, because otherwise you're in that sort of situation of, having to try and push stuff out that you're not 100% satisfied. And, I probably have perfectionist tendencies, so that kind of made that really challenging for me to just go, oh, there you go, close enough's good enough, and just shove it out the door. But if you haven't created something that's of that next level, then it's hard to convince somebody to spend the dollars to go, well, I'm just going to take a leap of faith. I mean, I was lucky. I did have someone do that for me last year, or the start of this year. No, it was last year, tail end of last year. And that was when I got to do the job that was with a couple of extra guys helping. And just that was like mind-blowing to me how much better it was, I had a little bit of a taste of it because I jumped on that short film project that the guys did, kind of part of Sunshine Coast Screen Collective that Fish was sort of organising, Showdown. Yeah, and I kind of did DP. I was DP on that with Fish kind of doing oversight because it was his gear. And so that experience was really good to kind of give me more of a feel for like, oh, okay, like if I was just purely focused on this, how much better could I do it? And same thing, just getting a couple extra people helping, moving stuff, I could focus more on talking to the client and just having better attention to detail of what was going on around the place.
Definitely. Good. The better you're, the more budget or whatever, the more professional shoot you get on, your job becomes more streamlined. And I think it's a big part of it. It's so much more fun as well, as long as the people are, the ones that you want to be working with, and you can talk and communicate really well. It's such a nice feeling just to focus on the one thing. You don't have to talk to the talent. You just I did a job when I was just DP, and it was like one of my fun. Yeah, it was really exciting. I just get adrenaline. It's kind of like, I don't know, flow state maybe, or like some meditative state where I'm just like in it. I'm just present. I'm looking at the light, and I don't know. I think I kind of like doing gaffer jobs, like I used to love building things and making cubbies and all these kind of things when I was younger. So it's kind of like, going into a space and being like, oh shit, what am I going to do here? And then turning it into something nice. That's like the biggest challenge, really. Like every space I go into, I'm like, oh no, this is not going to work. And then it turns into something really nice.
Yeah. I was just trying to see if I could get to, if I was a bit more organised, I might have had connected to do a share screen to show some of the images. I'm going to have a crack anyway. Just see.
Good luck.
Good luck, I know.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to show some of the pictures. I need that link here.
These pictures from the short film?
No, these are pictures of yours.
The ones I sent. Oh, cool.
Yeah, the ones that you shared. I just thought I'd try and... Does that come up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's up there now.
We're in business. Let's move that over so I can probably see a little bit better. This picture, I love this. Is this a still? Is this a photo?
No, that's That's actually just a frame grab. Yeah, that's a frame grab from a video I took.
Yeah, that looks
Yeah,
beautiful.
it
I
was really
mean,
nice. Yeah, he didn't even know I was doing that. It's funny. It was just.
yeah,
I think he was actually slacking. I think he was taking a break because he
busted.
didn't. Yeah, but it was that was really that was really nice. It was pouring rain when that was happening, so
Right. And it
everything kind of was in PNG.
looks like a beautiful location, just like
Yeah,
straight
it was.
onto the
Yeah,
water.
it was really nice.
Yeah. Oh, this is a cool
Yeah,
shot as well with you, and you're obviously flying a drone, and then these guys
yeah,
are all checking it out.
yeah. As soon as
I
you
like
put a drone up, they
dude,
all come to it. Yeah, I think I forget the pronunciation, but this bird plane. Oh no, bird camera. That's the.
bird camera.
Yeah, I forget how they say it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looks as though was this were these government related projects, or what sort of
Yeah,
work were
so
you
that
doing on
was
these ones?
so that the one in PNG was through the Sunshine Coast Uni, but it was funded through Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. So I, I start, when you start doing this work, there's so many acronyms. You're like, oh, I don't even know where the money's coming from. But I think they put uh, they go up for grants and stuff. The researchers at the uni, and then they get money from that pool from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. And so I was working with researchers from the Sunny Coast Uni and a uni in Melbourne, I think, and then that they partnered with the agricultural agricultural board of the PNG government, and
Right.
that was like a group project, lots of different people and acronyms, and so like it's like they don't, all the ministers or the people that they get the funding from, they don't want to look at like write-ups and word documents, so they'd rather do videos, so they get people like me to come and film their projects and that kind of stuff. So it works.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah. So there's definitely some super boring documents out there. And I mean, I like that. That looks like just a lot of fun from an adventure perspective too. Like I love travel, so getting to go to kind of a really unique place, although it's pretty dangerous from what I understand in PNG.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's really. I kind of like doing that work. You kind of takes a couple of days to relinquish any control. Like you can't go in there with, a plan a lot of the time, because it goes just it's like island time. Everyone's late, or nothing happens, or people forget. So you kind of just have to go with it. But if you do get into that mindset, stuff just happens. Like some of the best shots I've gotten was just, everything went wrong, and then we just waited, and something happened, and then people be climbing trees and doing all this cool stuff. But yeah, it wasn't too dangerous. I think it is, like, if you're there, but because we were with people who were living there, and they were kind of known, and they worked for the government, and there were two Australian people who were living there, and they were like friends with a lot of the people. I didn't really feel that unsafe, but I did see a few fights, and we kind of had to get out of there, and people missing limbs and stuff. And everyone's got like a bush knife. Everyone's got this big machete. So if something does happen, it's you get out of there. But I don't know. I guess being white, people don't really go after you. Maybe they just fight between themselves, between families and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, not many tourists there. It's not really set up for tourism where I was. But it is beautiful. Like so many remote places where there's no one there.
Yeah. With the sorts of places you're at, like kind of dirt road type sort of places, or everywhere still has it's kind of like roads. Like how built up was it?
Yeah, where I was, the roads are horrible. There's no. I think something about the saying that I got told is, in Australia you drive on the left of the road, in PNG you drive on what's left of the road. So it's like the drives are really like 3 hours, just like bumping up and down, and then you get places and and someone's not there or something. So you're like, oh shit. But yeah, there is every now and then you see government workers doing stuff, but it's pretty rare. I think there's lots of corruption and that kind of stuff there. But yeah, there wasn't like, there was a few like kind of fancy hotels, but then and then like maybe a couple of big shopping centers, but it was, it's pretty remote. There's not really nice houses or anything like that.
Yeah.
Most of the people still live in rural areas and are farmers. I think a large percentage still are rural farmers.
Yeah. And was that a solo project? Were you on your own for that one?
Yeah, I was, but I did have someone on the ground who kind of produced a lot of it. So, so they helped with talent and doing all that kind of stuff. So I was on my own filming wise, but I was there for 2 weeks, so I had plenty of time to get lots of footage and do interviews. So it was, I probably could have done that job in a week maybe, but having the 2 weeks made it really, really nice. And I could like say, oh, let's be here for sunset or sunrise and try and really get to the nice spots when it's nice lighting, which is kind of really hard for this kind of work. Like you want to be there for the nice light, but organizing people is half the problem, half the issue.
Yeah. So what's your kind of I guess end goal? Do you have something in mind, I suppose, that you're wanting to work towards or aspiring towards?
Yeah, it's kind of I'm still going through that. I think I'm at this point. Do I like grow, or do I just stay the same size and kind of just really try and focus on the projects I want? Like I've got a few friends who have bigger production companies, and I mean, a lot of the time I'm making just the same amount as them by the time they pay people and have to, pay for rent and all that kind of stuff. I still work from a home office. So it's that thing, do I grow and hire more people, or kind of just stay at the same? Like I'm pretty comfortable with my current income and stuff. I don't know if I do want to get bigger. I really do like the 5-minute kind of stories, and I think that really works at the moment, with people's attention spans and everything. If there was like a larger project, I'd be keen on that. But there is one at the moment which with a group here with about a childhood education and re-teaching kids and how to play outside and stuff. So that's something that I'm kind of just looking at the moment. But yeah, so I also just bought 13 acres in Tasmania. So
okay.
Yeah, I really love Tassie. So that's going to be part of the plan as well. So I kind of need to try and position myself to have clients all over Australia, so when I go there, I'm not dependent on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah. So this seems like a little bit random, but I'm sure it's not. Like, what are you doing with the 13 acres?
Oh, well, there's a house there, so I'm going to move there. So I've spent about 8 months driving around Tassie, and I loved it. So me and my partner bought some land there with a house on there.
Wow.
And you can still get enough land there that you don't have to be working your whole life to pay off the mortgage. And I love the community there, and so many organic food growers, and I really like. I don't know. It's kind of like New Zealand. My parents are from New Zealand. I'm not sure if I resonate for that reason. I mean, I do love the Sunshine Coast, but I don't even really go to the beach. I don't surf or anything. So and I don't mind the cold, and it's so beautiful, so beautiful. Like taking photos there is amazing. I spent a bit of time in Canada as well, and that was the similar. Like anywhere you take a camera in Canada is just beautiful. So the goal is to kind of have an off-grid home and be growing food, and then having a communal workspace maybe in the town that near the land that we purchased, and kind of have a nice balance between analog living off the land and tech. I still love technology and everything, so try and make something there.
Yeah. I resonate with that. Even on my Twitter profile, I think it says something like part tech junkie, part hippie, or something or other. Because I find myself in that sort of space of like I've always been interested in technology. It's probably my dad was quite into it, and he pioneered a lot of technology stuff into schools. He was a principal and got well established in that space in New South Wales, and what have you. But I also grew up in little teeny towns in New South Wales, and I went to high school at a place called Bellingham, which is down near Coffs
Oh, my
Harbour.
friends just moved there.
Yeah, it's a great place. I mean, Belgium. I mean, you would slide straight in there because it's
I've been told.
yeah, it's one of the destinations where all the hippies went to in the '60s. So they kind of went to someplace near Taree. I never remember. Sorry, guys who are even from there, from there, who might watch this later. And then there's the Bellinger Valley, which is all surrounded by. It's basically just one big valley made up of smaller, like little tributary type valleys that have, lots of communes and things like that. And then there was the Byron Bay area. But we used to always kind of like turn our nose up a little bit at Byron because it had become a bit kind of commercialized. I used to call it the yuppie alternate experience. But so I think some of that
I lived there as well in Byron, and it's funny how spaces get like that. It gets cool, and then it gets expensive, and then it gets and people move out. I did like it there. I lived in Mullumbimby for like 6 months.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like this has a good time to ask this question. So how long have you had your dreadlocks?
Oh, I've got no dreadlocks.
Oh, I thought you had dreadlocks.
No dreads. Just long hair.
Just long hair. Huh.
Yeah.
I could have sworn in some of the photos I saw dreads, or maybe you just let it get, you leave it go for a while.
Yeah, once it kind of goes together, but it's not dreaded or anything like that. If I don't brush it for a month, it kind of maybe gets stuck in there, but it's not dreaded or anything. I thought about it, but then I had lots of friends with dreadies, and it does seem like a bit of work, and they always smell.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, I had dreads back in the day, so I'm always interested when people have dreads and how long they've had them, and because I had like curly hair. Well, I had like just kind of pretty straight hair growing out, and then when I turned 16, just out of nowhere, my hair went curly. It was a real weird surprise for everybody. And I was like, okay, this is different. And I was sort of into surfing. I thought it was a good idea to have long hair. In hindsight, it was probably a terrible idea. I don't think it was helping me at all with the lady. But then when I went down to Sydney, I was 20 or so. I had wanted to get dreads earlier, but my old man, we only had two like really major altercations in my life. And one was when I said I wanted to get an eyebrow ring, and he just really was not happy about that. He said he'd rip it out of my head and all this sort of stuff. And then the other one was if I said I wanted to get dreadlocks, and he said, no, I'll just shave your head. And I was like, okay, well. So, but then when I left, I got the eyebrow ring. I did the dreadlocks, and I liked them for a while. But like I went down that path of like putting the wax in, trying to kind of form them, but and not washing them. So like I could just, I guess, surfing, working really hard in hospitality, and going out clubbing a lot. It's probably a pretty feral combination, really. Like
bad mix. All those smells.
Yeah.
My friend just cut his dreadlocks actually, and he had them right down to his butt, and then he cut them. And I was like, oh god, I didn't recognize him. It's really short.
Did he go all the way short?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've got long hair, but I have thought about cutting it. You know, those things that become part of your identity. Kind of like, I'll just get rid of it. Nice little change.
Yeah. Well, what I can say is when I got the dreads shaved off, it was, and this chick was massaging my head with shampoo. It was just it was a pretty spectacular experience. It was feeling so good. I was digging it for a while. So tell me, what about movies and like, I guess, longer form documentary type sort of content? Is that something that you've had experience with or are interested in doing?
Yeah. So I've had experience. So I went to film school, so I've worked on a few bigger sets, and then I was a part of a documentary last year that got filmed in Asia, and I was the main editor on that as well. And that was an hour and a half documentary, and so that's the longest one I've been involved with. But at this moment, I've got no desire to make that longer form stuff. Maybe if I had the right team, I don't know. I think sets can be quite stressful, and I don't know. I guess you have the right team, it'd be quite fun. But a couple of sets I was on, I was like, oh, no one looks like they're having fun here. But I haven't got too much desire in doing that. I've done a few short films, and that was kind of nice, like narrative stuff, and I wouldn't mind doing a few narrative things, but I'm still kind of learning. I kind of still figuring out directing. Really, directing is quite a tricky thing for my brain. Like I'm not always playing it certain things out. I guess that's why I've gone more towards documentary filmmaking. I like observing and kind of getting people comfortable and talking with them more so than really, structuring a narrative. But it's something I'd like to learn more about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, because that's what I was initially drawn to. I guess the documentary style, or sort of small. I think I may have even spoke to you about it at one stage at one of those Sunny Coast Screen Collective events. But the idea of doing like biopics, just little things where someone wants to have a feature, like on a founder of a company or something, where you actually go and and there's a local dude here who it's on the cards. You might have seen some of his work. He creates this surfboard art, or he does photography in the surf predominantly, and then he laminates it onto surfboards. Like he does do big framed pictures as well, but predominantly he puts them on surfboards and sells them at the markets. And pretty chilled out sort of dude. And he was down here at Moffs, where I live, and he was talking about maybe doing something where he'd have someone kind of follow him around as he kind of goes and scouts out locations and does his stuff in the water and whatever. I thought that'd be a lot of fun. That, and like also I suppose what you're talking about, where you get a chance to meet the people and spend time with them and sort of build a bit of a relationship, and so then they're hopefully more comfortable to open up and talk about things.
Yeah, that's the key. Like, I don't know, there's only you can get enough skill with the camera, but if you don't have the relationship, you don't really have a nice conversation. And I mean, you have to know it. You're not going to tell a stranger all this stuff about you, so that's the key thing. And like having a fixer, someone on the ground who's kind of that connecting person, that's always a really nice addition to a production. Having someone who's that connecting element.
Yeah, talk to me more about that. I'm not so familiar with the concept of a fixer. So what would they do?
Someone's just like, it's kind of like a producer, but they're local. So if you're going to travel somewhere, they're kind of your producer who knows locations, people, and they're doing work, all the groundwork before you get there, so that you're not just there and meeting everyone fresh. That's kind of just the term I heard a year ago or something. I was like, oh, that's a good little name for it. Fixer.
Yeah, well, you just got to pick up all these things as you sort of go along, don't you?
Acronyms.
Pick it up or make it up.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Can you tell us a story about, I guess, something that that didn't go so smoothly? Like, what's been probably the most stressful or disastrous thing that you've been part of?
Disastrous.
Well, maybe not. It doesn't have to be like an absolute, building falling down sort of. maybe.
So when we went on in PNG, we went on a boat. I don't know what the name of them are, but they're really long, just one hull boat. They're a lot of fishermen, but they're also transport boats. And we went on one to go to an island. So it was about 2 hours on this little boat. So we flew into Port Moresby, and then another small plane to Kokopo, and then a boat to this little island. to film some people there, because it was about the gallop, which is a nut, and it was on this island. So we're going there to talk to people about it. And we had 2 boats, one for all the gear and then one for all the people. And we had a big bag with like flares and life jackets and all this kind of sat nav and all this stuff. And that bag was on the bag with all the luggage. So that wasn't with us. And the waves was horrible. The boat broke down and had to sit in the water for like 20 minutes while another boat came and got us. We switched boats. And it was it was about 2 hours, and it was just like the worst ride. And there was a few kids with us, and it was the waves were really bad. And I remember the driver was like, I wonder how good he is at driving this thing. And you kind of have to follow the waves, and if you don't get it right, it does kind of kick out. He nearly fell off, the driver, because he was the only one standing up, and nearly fell off on this wave. And so just like that. Like PNG is it's beautiful with a camera, but then it can just be chaos. It's color and chaos, places like that. So there's days that are really calm and beautiful on like an island, but then you've got to trade that in for 2 hours of just like, oh my God, what do I do if something goes wrong here?
Are we actually gonna stay alive? Yeah.
Control. What do? You kind of just hope that you can stay afloat if something goes wrong.
I love that sort of thing. It sounds like they might be similar to the boats that in Thailand, the traditional boats, or let's say in between traditional, and now they have the kind of speedboats, but they also have these long boats, and they have like it's essentially a V8 engine on a rudder that they hit with a massive prop off the back.
It was a similar shaped boat. I remember in Thailand those boats as well.
It's a crazy setup. Just the concept of having that engine like moving and just one long drive shaft that goes out the back with a prop on it.
And all the safe stuff. I just remember being like, at least we've got the sat nav, at least we've got the flares and life jackets, but they were in the other boat, which wasn't with us. It was like 15 minutes ahead of us, because they didn't have all the people, so they could go a lot faster.
How good! Yeah, we had a story not quite that drastic, but it was a little bit touch and go. My wife and I were in Thailand for our, that's right, it wasn't a honeymoon, no, because I wouldn't have done it, because I was thinking, because I convinced Debs to go down to this place called Railay Bay, which has big cliffs, so I wanted to go rock climbing there, because I used to be really into climbing. But we did like this baby moon thing, right? So she's like, I don't know, 6-7 months pregnant, like heavily pregnant. And we went on this, and I had to drive like a couple of hours down to get to where the set off point was to go, and we negotiated this van driver that you never know, like whether like when you come back he's actually going to be there or not. But we done this agreement, and it seemed like he was trustworthy. So we're like, okay, we'll see you here later. And we went over there. It's just spectacular, like big cliffs that come out of the water, and it was great. Like I went climbing. Deb's got a massage, so that part was all great. But by the time we were leaving, it got really stormy, and so we couldn't leave the same way that we came in. We had to go out this back sort of side of the island, and so that involved a little bit of a journey just to get across onto that side. And then the tide was up, so like the jetty that you would go across, which is really just a big, long bit of concrete, was about underwater by about that much. So we're going along this slippery sort of thing. You can just see through the water, and my wife is pregnant. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm the worst. I'm the worst husband. She's not up for that sort of adventure at all. Like we're on the opposite ends of the scale. So we're going along. I'm going, it's okay. We're going to be all right. And got into the boat thankfully and survived. But I do like that culture shock element of going to places like Thailand, and it's just even just the driving is crazy.
Yeah, and all those stories are always the ones that you share as well. People like those stories of like stuff that nearly goes wrong.
That's right. I know.
At the time, you're like, oh, I can't do anything to get out of this situation. And then it's always the one that you tell. Kind of funny. People like rather stories about like danger and misery.
Yeah, they 100% do. Yeah, and particularly people in the climbing community too. Like, and that's been one of the things that anything that I've had happen that was remotely like that, like if we were doing a bigger multi-pitch climb or something like that, I've just not told Debs about because that would be like that. That's it. Climbing's over.
Yeah. Have you seen did you see Free Solo?
Yeah, with Alex Honnold.
Oh my God. And he wouldn't, I think he told his girlfriend or something at the time she had to go and all this stuff so that she wouldn't be worried as well. Yeah, that was a wild process behind the scenes of that documentary, like how they filmed it was so interesting. Like,
yeah,
what a mission.
Yeah, he's amazing, that guy. I do respect. I can kind of understand the headspace. Like I do like that concept, like talking about like a flow state. Like that's like kind of the ultimate. You just have to. He has to be in that perfect state of mind where he can just not wig out, because if you start stressing climbing, the adrenaline starts to go, and it's actually counterproductive to being like having fine motor control. So the fact that he's got the mental capability to be, like almost a kilometer off the ground on El Capitan in Yosemite and just be making these moves. And it's a hard climb too. Like it's a climb that a lot of people can't actually physically just do it with ropes. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's an easy climb.
Everything was mapped to the centimeter. That was just like, whoa, he's mapped this entire path down to like the centimeter of where he's going to put his finger.
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing. Like, I guess you've got to do that to know exactly what's going on. But yeah, and like the people filming or the cinematographers, like trying to position themselves so they weren't too close to like be in view, because like having an element of the camera there was like an additional pressure of like trying to like not perform for the camera, just to like kind of remain in your mindset, like all these things.
That's it.
Yeah, and like these dudes, the DPs were really good climbers as well, and they were up there with like reds and huge cameras.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. People can get some pretty amazing footage of people climbing nowadays. He's actually, I didn't even know he was doing it until I got onto Instagram, and I've only been there for 2 months or so. But he's set up this whole Honnold Foundation, I guess, because he's got a bit of fame and made a little bit of money here and there. So he's basically
the director.
No, the climber, Alex Honnold.
Oh, I think the director's made something as well.
Oh, okay, yeah,
an adventure production something. I remember seeing a few ads about it.
Yeah. What's your flavor of like when you're viewing content? What do you get into? Do you have any particular niches or things like that you like?
I kind of go in and out of it, really. Sometimes I watch Netflix, and then sometimes I just don't really watch anything. I don't know. This good movies are so few and far between now, especially with COVID. They haven't released a lot of stuff, and it's rare that I want to commit to a show. I just started watching Fargo, the show. I think it's a few years old, but I didn't even know it was out. But I really liked Fargo, the movie, the Coen brothers. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this show.
Are they making the show as well?
Pardon?
Do Coen brothers make the show, or is it somebody else?
No, I don't think so. I think it was adapted. So I think they even got a different screenwriter, and the director's obviously different. It's not the same. But yeah, it's really good. It's got the guy from what's his name? The guy from the UK office, Tim from The Office.
Oh yeah.
What was his name? He was in The Hobbit as well.
Yeah,
he's in there as the main character. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
I have a few YouTube people that I like to watch. I like to watch like people that are really good, like Roger Deakins and that kind of really beautiful stuff that I couldn't even picture myself doing. And then people that are just a bit better than you, so you can kind of see what they're doing and you can improve that way. without watching something. Like I just saw Tenet the other day as well, and I was like, oh my God, I can't even fathom what's happening here. So yeah, it's kind of switched between those two things. But then I watch certain YouTubers, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really good. I can use that because I can see what they're doing.
Yeah.
I kind of jump between that kind of stuff. I love YouTube. I love watching YouTube. I spend maybe too much time there, but it's kind of really inspiring for me. But then other people I know don't even see YouTube the way I do. So they don't even see it as a community and an inspiring thing. Like,
yeah.
And people don't even use YouTube as a search engine, which I'm really like, oh, well, just type it in the YouTube. Someone will show you how to do it like straight away. It's not like my mum types on Facebook questions. I'm like, no, just type that same question into YouTube, and you have someone straight away showing you exactly how to do it. Like you don't have to wait for people to respond. So I guess I think YouTube's like 75 or 80% male, something like that.
Is it really?
The viewing numbers are more towards men.
Yeah, right.
But creators on YouTube are really inspiring. I'm kind of wanting to make more YouTube stuff, and I think when I get a Tassie, that'll probably be a cool thing to be able to do, like the off-grid kind of filmmaking stuff. I see lots of videos, like off-grid videos in YouTube, and I'm like, oh God, I could make a lot better stuff than this.
Yeah. It's it is interesting. Like I've watched like Peter McKinnon and Matty Hoper and Potato Jet. Have you watched Potato Jet?
Yeah, I watched. Yeah.
He's a funny guy. I think he's entertaining. So I like watching. Just he can make a video about just about anything. I'll probably watch it just because he's funny.
Yeah, and that's where it's going. Like having that kind of that audience is really easier when you do have a film that you want to show. You've got like 100,000 people there that are going to watch it. Or, I don't know. That attention is the commodity. Like
that's it.
And then you can pitch easier. You can say, oh, this is my audience here. I'm already doing it. Like, it is a smart move. It's not just like a influencer kind of thing. It's more, it's a very strategic business model, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a few other creators that are smaller they're not really loud and they're not really like outgoing. They're just kind of more calm. I'm like, oh, you can still do it without having that kind of that Peter McKinnon personality, which he obviously loves chatting and being on camera. So that kind of was always the thing. I was like, oh, I don't always like talking. It's not always natural, but it is, there's people that are doing it. It's just about being genuine. I think that's people see that now and they're like, oh, that's real, rather than those fake, like closing down sale advertisements, carpets up. Like that kind of marketing is obviously, it's gone.
Closing
down sale, like 10 years.
Closing. It's like, you guys close. Like, would you just hurry up and actually close?
I don't know how they get away with it. Yeah.
It's just
must be working.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe they did get pulled up. I thought maybe they did eventually get stopped. They couldn't do any more of that. But either that or they're just like, oh, I don't think people are liking this. I agree. Like, I think people, and I'm excited by it personally, because to me, like, people being genuine and being down to earth and being like who they are is that's kind of like, if I have a barometer of like whether I'm going to connect with someone or not, like that's really kind of like that's the meter. And like, I don't care what they do. Like, and you could be a lawyer or a tradie or whatever. Like, if you're a down to earth person, then that's basically a tick in the box. And that's why it's good to see more diversity of creators, and like you're saying, some people that don't have like really flamboyant, crazy personalities still be able to get traction. So
still being able to inspire.
I saw a guy today, actually, because I was trying to figure out all this trying to figure out how can I get, because I had at first to get the camera working, the EOS webcam software is rubbish, so that's unfortunate, but it is in its beta stage, but it's just not reliable. Like, sometimes like you'll turn it, like you go on and StreamYard detects that it's there and it's perfect, and then other times it just comes up with a thing saying EOS webcam utility software. And I was thinking,
camera overheating.
I just was like, the new, I've got the older EOS R, so
I figured you didn't have the new one.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a bit tricky. But yeah, I found some dude because I was like, oh, okay, and there's this Indian guy. He was kind of funny because he was kind of like copying some of the sort of Peter McKinnon-esque type things, yeah, in the way he was talking. But I was looked at it and he's had like 33,000 views. And I'm like, most of the stuff I've done so far has probably got like 100 views maximum. I'm like, what is he doing? What is he doing that's so good?
Yeah, it surely is just consistency, hey? I think about making 40 videos, I think, until you even can get into the algorithm. I think that's something like that.
Yeah, well, this is where I'm probably my own worst enemy because I'm sort of semi-fighting the algorithm system because I know, like, I've watched enough stuff about, I guess, digital marketing and the algorithm and things like that to sort of know I should probably, like, if I want to get more cut through, I should just focus on one thing and one thing only and just be like niche, but my interests are really kind of wide and varied, I've tried to, as I've done, like what I'm doing at the moment with having like a daily show Monday to Friday, I've tried to pick subject matters that are similar, like they hinge through. Ultimately, Flicks for Good at the moment, I'm using the brand, on the web, on here and on YouTube and other places like that. But ultimately, I want to build a video streaming service called Flicks for Good and have it set up as a social enterprise where half the money that gets created or half the money that's profit goes to different causes that people nominate, as well as providing a way that people can flick dollars to people in need or causes in need easily, without having to go through a whole process of signing up for stuff or getting harassed at night time by telemarketers or stopped in the street by people. That's kind of the dream for Flicks for Good. And so a bit like you're talking about with like having a foundation to try and work off to then, get a film project going or something else, I'm hoping to build, a bit of an audience of like-minded people who will all hopefully be interested in seeing this thing take off. And then I'm going to do a big crowdfunding campaign and try and, go gangbusters on that. But
awesome.
Yeah, it would be nice, like if the search engine was to feature me, but I think I'm doing the wrong things. So I'm trying to rely on just word of mouth and just other people.
Just patience, hey. I don't know, like just being patient with it. Yeah, it's hard to know like what works, hey, and like it always takes a long time for you to see results as well. Doing that kind of social media ad. I think the trick is obviously getting someone who really loves it and then just focus on that, do the ads, own everything, make content. I mean, this is, I've had an idea for a few podcasts as well. So I think slowly working towards it.
Yeah. Well, mate, I think we're just about out of time, actually, on that note. I was having a little look there.
I'm going to go to the toilet really badly. You need to go to the toilet?
Huh?
You need to go to the toilet?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, who knows? I broke my back years ago, so I actually can't. I don't have that proper sensation.
Oh,
that's
right. Okay.
For another day. But hey,
it's been great. Worked really well. Like this program, StreamYard, has nothing stopped on your end. Like there's no like a lag or anything.
Not so far. No.
Yeah, it's worked out.
Yeah,
well.
It's mostly good. It just I'll see how it plays out. I think there's a bit of a lag like the syncing of the audio wasn't great on one of them. But otherwise it's pretty solid.
And what's the thing behind you there on your right?
Oh yeah. That's like it's like a marble roller coaster.
Oh, right. Cool.
Yeah. I wanted a miniature roller coaster and I found this at the game shop here in Caloundra at Amazon. And they didn't even know that they had it there. It was like up behind some boxes. And I was like, what's that? And I was like, that looks like kind of cool marble roller coaster with like weird age instructions. It was almost impossible to build, and you got to kind of grit to get it to stay working. But yeah.
Oh, cool.
Bit of fun.
Looks very futuristic, very like Blade Runner. It looks like a little miniature set or something.
Mini set. Nice one. Hey, good to chat to you, man. I look
Yeah, you
forward
too.
to hearing it again.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, thanks for the chat. Do I leave now or just stay on?
You just I'd remove you. As I always laugh about this,
Okay,
but
cool.
remove. I'm going to remove you.
Yeah.
See you, mate.
Cheers.
Oh, yes, so good. All right, well, we made it, and StreamYard might live on. Who knows? I was so close. Ecamm Live, if there's any Ecamm Live people out there, if you can make that. Nobody wants to use Skype, I don't think. Skype's on the out. So anyway, we'll see. Or if anybody has any cracking great ideas or suggestions, feel free to drop those in the comments or drop me a line. I'd certainly love to hear about it. And stay tuned, do all the right things, you know, click like if you liked it, of course. If you made it this far, I'm assuming you did. Let's just left it in the background. So yeah, click like, subscribe, share it with your mates. And as usual, if anybody knows Quentin Tarantino, I can get me in contact with Quentin Tarantino. I'd love to chat with him. And if anybody knows how to get or even see, I don't know where they are, an original Gonzo. So that's just two crazy wishes that I figure I'll just keep putting out to the world, and we'll see what happens. All right, I'll catch you guys next week. And feel free to tune into the other stuff. And actually, Instagram, Brad for Good, Brad the number 4, Good. If you go there, then you're going to find... if you go to Instagram, you go to Brad for Good. I have a bunch of other interviews I filmed earlier in the piece. I was using Instagram Live until just recently. So you can see IGTV, and there's all the different series there. Mondays at Moffs, Friday, Filmmaking Fridays, Change Makers, The New Canvas, and Tangent Tuesday, which is just a bit of anything goes fun. So yeah, feel free to check that out. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, because I don't know whether I'll keep them all running. It's a lot of work at the moment, but also a lot of fun. And likewise, actually, if you know any great people you think would be good guests, then feel free to reach out, because I'm always keen to know interesting people to talk to. All right, catch you next time.